Hello everyone, I'm doing a video today of how to make a dried flower wreath putting flowers on it. Now here's the wreath, here's some of the wreaths that I made last week. I've got some smaller ones there, and I've done a lot of round ones as well. But this is the big one that I made, and I did a video of it last week. I've put a bit of string here to tighten the grip of the branches, so it's made it more firm, and it's had a week to dry. So now I'm going to start thinking about putting the flowers on it. So what I thought I'd do is I would show you my dried flowers that I've got out of my selection of dried flowers that I dry myself. Now, firstly, I'll show you how I have a lot of dried hydrangea heads. Some of these are from last year's, although last year the weather was so bad that most of them were not usable because they were just rotting in the wet. So I've only got a few from last year, but I've got these from the year before, previously. They're all sorts of different colours. And then I have dried frosted explosion that I've dried, if you can see that, to add a bit of greenery and a bit of pretty seed head. There's one of my homemade hooks that I hang them up with when they're drying. Put that there, so that's a little bunch of that. And what I like to do is just get a selection out of things, so that I can choose at the time when I'm making the wreath and add them at the time. Now, I've also got here a few dried zinnias. I haven't got many of those this year, but the ones that I have, they're going to look really pretty on the wreath. If you imagine them nestled against the hydrangeas, are really pretty. And I've got a choice, and I've got more upstairs, but I've just brought a few down. Then I've got a load more hydrangea heads here, different greeny colours, so it'll add a nice different comparison with the colours. I've got a few dried roses here. Now all my roses that I have, mostly all my roses, are what my husband's been buying for me over the last year or so. When he started when I was poorly at the beginning of last year, getting me roses, because he knows I like them, and mine don't grow very well because the deer come into the garden and eat a lot of the shoots. So he buys me these roses, and they were so beautiful, I've been hanging them and drying them. So I've got dried roses. I've also got some of my own homegrown limonium that I've grown in the greenhouse. I've got two nice big shrubs of that. One in the greenhouse and one outside, but it does best in the greenhouse. So I've got some of that little ferny limonium. I've got a little bit more. This is a different one, but this is the one that grows outside, so it's a bit more longer, leggier and tougher, but I think it's a different variety that I've got, because I've got two varieties, and I can't remember what the name of them is. I've got a tiny bit of Amobium alatum. These are little dried flowers, look, you can hear, quite crackly, they're lovely. And that is basically hardly all that I managed to get this year, but again, because of the damp weather for last year, and that's all I've got. So I just want those as a little highlight in the wreath that I'm going to do. Just seems of interest. Some more. These are a couple of allium heads that I might use, I might not, because this wreath is going to be creams and pinks and reds and greens to go. It's for my sister, so that's why I'm doing this. I've also got a few different dried eucalyptus that I'm going to I might use it, I might not, but I've got the choice. So I've got quite a bit of that, and that's another tub full of dried hydrangea heads. Let's see. Then I've also got in here an assortment of roses, different ones. Nice peachy creamy ones. They look gorgeous. The roses look just as gorgeous when they're dried as they do when they're alive, you know. So, and the last for years. If you dry, you know, if you get some lovely flowers, hang them upside down and in a nice dry environment, and see if you can dry some for yourself, because it's a lovely way of keeping them. And all these are different contrasting colours, see, so that's another nice one. So I've got plenty of choice, and I've got more upstairs, but I've also got here some that are sort of pinky and lemony. So those are all my choices of flowers. Oh, I've also got here some small bud roses, and I've also got, oh, let's see, that's small roses. I've got quite a lot of interesting things. I've got that dried all layer, which I might use. It adds a nice little bit of brightness to the whole mix. And I've got statice in lemons and white. And I've got these are quite interesting little things. Just a different colour to add to it. They're one of my nice fancy ornamental grasses. That's pretty little seed heads. So I may put those in it as well. Maybe not, maybe. And I've also got a few helichrysums, a choice of a few. All of these, apart from the roses, I grow myself. Everything's homegrown here, apart from the roses, like I said. And then there's these bits, some of these bits, some more interesting little spiky long pieces to put into the thing, the Somalium heads again. So there's those as well in the basket. I've also got these little bits, these little things. I can't remember what on earth they're called, but they're just nice to add a little touch of grey. As you can see, it looks pretty with the pinks. So I've got those. Now, looking at these helichrysums, you can see this helichrysum here has blown. So there's no way I would put that on my wreath, because if it was out, when it's out in the house and it's in a warm room, it will, believe it or not, continue to try and open, and eventually that will go poof and all the seeds will come out all over your floor. So that will be discarded. So will this one. This one, can you see? Because it's two-way gone. Now this one is not going to, this is not going to blow. So that may be used. But this one is not going to be used. Okay, and so I'll just make some nice choices of things that I know will keep nicely. So yeah, that's some of my flowers. Right, as you can see, I've chosen some of my hydrangea heads and laid them on top of the heart in the sort of fashion that I want to put them on. They'll probably get more squashed up together when I start putting them on. Now, the method that I'm going to use to attach my hydrangea to those, the wreath, is a glue gun. So I'll show you my glue gun. Here's my glue gun. This is what I'm going to be switching on and using. What I'm going to do is take a few photographs for you as I'm completing it, because I can't hold this camera and do the job at the same time, because I haven't mastered the art of doing it yet. I need to get another way of doing this, but for this purpose I'm going to just take photographs. Okay, right, I'm hoping you can see this. I've put on these three heads with this glue gun, and now I'm going to put another piece on. I'm hoping you can see. What you do is you squirt the glue along the edge of, on the branches where it's really hot, so be careful. Now I've taken the branch off, the stalk off, and you press that in just over the glue. Bear in mind, don't let your fingers go through the hydrangea head, because the glue is searingly hot, okay? So be very careful of that. Then I'm going to do the next piece, and just gently, quickly work quickly if you can. And if some of these don't fix very well to begin with, what you can do is go back and stick something else in. And there's the next piece, look. You can trim this and add extra bits to it as you go along, so don't worry. At the moment I'm just working as fast as I can while the glue gun is out. And there's the next piece, which I've taken the stalk off. Get it on like that. Make sure that it's held in properly. So I've got all those few on at the moment. I don't know if you can see, but I'm hoping you can. Then there's another little bit here. Put the glue on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sticking a lot of flowers into the gaps and sticking them, pushing them into the hydrangeas, okay? So I can show you that later, maybe on another video. But I just wanted to, this is my prepping ready for the first part of the flower wreath, okay? Okay, that's going to be my last piece of hydrangea for now in this video, because I've got to put another piece of glue stick in. Okay, so that's what I do. I've done this half really quickly with the glue gun. I shall proceed to put more glue up here, a bit at a time, and do each head at a time, and then I'll do a picture of what it looks like, okay? Now, here we are. This is the wreath that I've just put all of the hydrangea heads on. Be careful using a hot glue gun, because you tend to get like little strings of red hot glue, and if you get any on your fingers when you're putting it on, it gets really hot very quickly and burns your fingers. So if you get a bit on your fingers, get it off quickly. Wipe it on a piece of card like I have done there, look. And they do dribble, the hot gun, so like I say, be very careful when you're putting them on. I've had to put on a few extra heads and push a few in here and there. Some of the heads are a bit dry because they're not last year's, but for this purpose they'll make a nice wreath for this next year, and then hopefully I'll be able to make another fresh one next year from fresh hydrangea when I've dried it. So what I do is I'll dry some more in summer, hopefully, and then this time the year after I'll be able to make wreaths again. And they're always nice when they're just a year old. They're much better, the colours are more vibrant. If you're going to hang some up to dry, make sure you dry them out of the sun, because drying flowers, if you've got the sun on them, you think, oh well, that'll help them dry. It doesn't. It does, but the colour does get washed out. So hang them in a nice warm dry place if you can. Okay, so I'll do another video when I start putting the flowers on, and let you see how I do that. Bye for now.